Welcome back to Down Under Motorsport. Now, on today's episode, I will rank the teammates against each other. It will be broken down by who will outscore the other, and then the slaughter level. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how comprehensively they will be beaten. I am going to start from the bottom of the list in terms of championship position for the 2022 season. Now, obviously, we can't compare Todd Hazelwood against himself. Well, we can, but there's no teammate to actually compare him to, so we will skip that one. I'm not sure if he's very much of an upgrade from Tim Slade, I'm going to be honest. I don't expect much more from the team into this year. Potentially with an even playing field, that could be really the only chance that Todd Hazelwood is really going to better himself than what Tim Slade did last year. Next up is Premier Racing. Now, last year, 2022 season, was Chris Pither and James Golding. Now, this year, slight change of Tim Slade and James Golding. I do believe Tim Slade will outscore James Golding. Tim Slade is an experienced pair of hands that should help lead the team forward in such a change of regulation. Now, he did join in 2009. He is an experienced race winner, so really, there shouldn't really be much of an excuse to be beaten by James Golding. James Golding only really has had 2 full-time seasons in Supercars, in 2018 and 2019 with Gary Rogers. He only joined round 19 of the 2022 Supercars Championship, and he has proven he deserves to be in the series. His best result was a P9 at Sandown, but if he is given the right car and strategy, no doubt he will be up the grid. On the slaughter scale of 1 to 10, I've placed it at a 4. So I do believe Tim Slade will outperform James Golding, but it won't be to a higher extent as some of the other drivers. He is a steady pair of hands. He will provide probably a more consistent championship this year, with James Golding performing quite a few, I would say, higher ceilinged performances, if that's even a word. But yeah, slaughter level of 4. On to MSR. Now, if you've listened to the other podcast episode where I discussed my hot takes for the year, I did say that MSR will fall behind Premier Racing. Premier do have quite a competitive driver lineup. Last year, Jack LeBrock and Todd Hazelwood. Obviously, Todd Hazelwood has now moved to Cool Drive, and in place, Cameron Hill has taken his spot at MSR against Jack LeBrock. Now, I have placed Jack LeBrock as the teammate who will outperform against Cameron Hill. Now, Jack LeBrock is entering his 6th season, second season with Matt Stone Racing, and he's got a rookie driver as a teammate. Now, Cameron Hill is a quality driver. I would say he's reasonably consistent. He's, finished 5th in the Super 2 series. There is no denying he does bring a budget to the team. But yeah, Jack LeBrock really does have no excuse to lose to Cameron Hill. On the slaughter scale between the two MSR drivers, I have rated it an 8. So Jack LeBrock will comprehensively outscore Cameron Hill. I wouldn't be surprised if Cameron Hill was, consistently in the bottom 5-ish of the grid pretty much throughout the whole season. Next up is the Team 18 drivers. Now, Mark Winterbottom and Scott Pye, 2022 drivers, and also the 2023 drivers. So this is the first pair that I've been through that haven't changed. Mark Winterbottom, he will outscore Scott Pye. Mark is a Supercars champion, finished in the top 10 last year. There is no doubt that Scott Pye was plagued with power steering issues throughout the season, and without them, he would have been much closer to Mark in the standings. But with Mark Winterbottom's experience and his understanding of how to drive a car, there is no doubt, I believe, that Mark Winterbottom will outscore Scott Pye. But on the slaughter scale, this is the lowest it's been so far. I've rated it a 3. So I do see Scott Pye and Mark Winterbottom interchanging results. But at the end of the season, Mark Winterbottom will have provided a more consistent and overall better season than his teammate Scott Pye. Now, we move up to Grove Racing. So I'm looking through the grid so far that we've talked to. This is the first Mustang pair. So Grove Racing, David Reynolds and Lee Holdsworth in the 2022 season. In the 2023 season, it will be David Reynolds and Matt Payne. So No surprise here, David Reynolds. It's David Reynolds. He is up against a rookie teammate. While Matt Payne finished in P3 in the championship last year, obviously Declan Fraser won it, but I would mark him the best rookie on the grid. Probably has in my opinion, the highest ceiling. I do expect a couple years for him to bed into the Supercars series before he properly challenges David Reynolds. But yeah, I have no doubt Matt Payne will definitely outscore a few of the drivers we've already been through. But I do believe David Reynolds, without a doubt, will beat Matt Payne. On the slaughter scale, I have rated it a 7. Not as high as the MSR pair, but yeah, I do think David Reynolds, wealth of knowledge, he will most likely challenge top 5 around that mark throughout the year. But yeah, David Reynolds will outscore Matt Payne. Now, for the Brad Jones racing teams, obviously they are technically classified 2 separate teams, the second and then the first team. So I'll go through the second team of Jack Smith and Macaulay Jones. This pair has not changed since 2022. I have placed Macaulay Jones to outscore Jack Smith. Now, I don't really have a lot to say with this one. Macaulay has a more consistent, higher finishing position compared to Jack Smith, but realistically, these two aren't going to set the world alight this year. I've placed it at a 5 on the slaughter scale. So yeah, Macaulay Jones will outscore Jack Smith. Now, for the number 1 Brad Jones racing team, Andre Heimgartner and Bryce Forward. Now, these two also are carrying over from the 2022 season. No surprise here, Andre Heimgartner will outscore Bryce Forward. Now, Andre was the top 10 finisher in the championship last year. He is stamped as the team leader. Bryce has had a challenging time last year. He hasn't really set the world alight so far in Supercars since he's joined from his championship-winning Super 2 series. But we should see a better result out of him in the 2023 season, finishing P17 last year. I would hope to see him at least 12th or above, to be honest. Andre Heimgartner, slaughter scale number 8. So, yeah, I have full confidence in Andre that he will outperform Bryce Forward as well as the other 2 Brad Jones racing teammates. Now, Erebus. Will Brown and Brody Kostecki, 2022. Will Brown, Brody Kostecki, 2023. Now, I have placed Brody Kostecki as the teammate that will outperform. He will outscore Will Brown. Now, Brody's speedway experience should see him get on top of the car earlier on. While Brody is yet to see his first win, I think this is the year for him. Both will finish reasonably close to each other. Will Brown didn't have the best year last year. He had, that incident at Pukekohe with Mark Winterbottom. But, yeah, generally, Brody had the upper hand last year. Will Brown, obviously, is a race winner from Sydney Motorsport Park in 2021. Brody, on the slaughter scale, I've rated it a number 2. So, very close between the two. I wouldn't be surprised if Will Brown does outscore Brody. But, Brody, to be honest, he will finish top 5 this year. That's my claim. I've already mentioned that in the top 10, the hot take video. So yeah, Brody Kostecki will outscore Will Brown. Now for the WAU pair of Nick Percat and Chaz Mostert. Same lineup 2022, same lineup 2023. Now no doubt I have placed Chaz Mostert in front of Nick Percat. If anyone is going to challenge it to Shane, I think it will be Chaz Mostert. Nick had a horrible year in 2022. There's no denying it. Trying to drive that WAU Commodore proved a real struggle. A fresh slate this year, no excuses, but I do hope he will, because obviously the cars are fresh slate, all much more similar to one another. There's no a little philosophy carryover, if anything, from the Commodore, but Nick is a proven race winner. He is a proven talent in the series, whether or not WAU is a teammate killer now as well. But yeah, Nick Percat, this really is a make or break year for him. On the slaughter scale, I have placed it number 7. Last year, to be honest, it was probably about a 9. But this year, I have faith Nick Percat will pull back towards Chaz Mostert. The gap won't be as big in the 2023 season. Now, for the Tickford teams, we will start off with the number 2 team. In 2022, it was Tom Randall and Jake Kostecki. There is a change of the lineup this year with Tom Randall and Declan Fraser. I have placed Tom Randall to outscore Declan Fraser. It is his second quote-unquote full-time year. Obviously, he had quite a few rounds before that as a wild card. But yeah, Declan Fraser, rookie year, rookie season, expect a consistent drive for him. Nothing spectacular in terms of results, but he will prove a challenge to Thomas Randall. Whether or not Thomas gets in a few incidents, that would realistically be the only chance Declan would outscore him, in my opinion. But yeah, Tom Randall, I have placed the slaughter scale at a number 4. So not disastrously big. It's actually going to be one of the more competitive teammates, I feel, between the two of them of the grid. But yeah, Tom Randall outscores Declan Fraser. For the lead Tickford team of James Courtney and Cam Waters, it is the same lineup for the 2023 season. Again, no doubt Cam Waters will outscore James Courtney. Obviously, Cam is the lead Tickford driver. For the most part of last year, he was Shane's opposition. He finished P2 in the championship. James Courtney was often plagued with crashes and, other situations, whatever. But he did achieve 4 podiums in the 2022 series. The champion should provide critical setup help, as he does know what it feels like to drive a fast car. Yeah, on the slaughter scale, I have ranked it a number 7, so comprehensively will outscore James Courtney. I do think James Courtney does need to step up from last year. He didn't have the best year. He was either in a good position or he was nowhere or retired. So, yeah, Cam Waters will outscore James Courtney. Now, for the DJR pair of Anton and Will, firstly, treading on water right now because I uploaded a TikTok video about saying Anton, if he would be the next champion, Shane isn't going to come out the gates well enough. Anyway, I was the one that got slaughtered, so I'm going to tread very lightly here. I can't decide, to be honest. That was a hot take video. That one was just bold predictions, but realistically, I cannot decide who will outscore the other driver. Will Davidson has a wealth of experience. He's been in the sport for a decent period of time. And Anton probably has a higher ceiling at the moment. He does have the outright speed, but, he's made a few mistakes, a few errors last year that really didn't really help him. The only reason he really outscored Will was because of that Bathurst incident where Will just went straight on at turn 2. So slaughter level, I have ranked it a 0. So I cannot really pick one or the other. I do hope it's Anton for the sake of his future. Anton, Will Davidson, can't decide. Now, for the 888 team of Shane and Brock, obviously it will be Shane. He takes the crown over his teammate. Brock will definitely make a step closer to Shane this year, but Shane just isn't really beatable at the moment. Brock Feeney, he is one of my favourite drivers at the moment. Well, always really supported him through the Super Series and now into the main game. I do think he is a future champion, but at the moment, Shane is just really unbeatable at the moment. Slaughter level, I have ranked it 7 to 8, can't really decide, but 0 doubt, I have the most confidence that Shane will outscore Brock Feeney out of all drivers on the grid, all teams, on the grid. So, yeah, Shane Van Gisbergen will destroy Brock Feeney. Now, that is a wrap for our teammate head-to-head episode. I will be uploading this onto Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and as well as some short TikTok videos as well. So be sure to check them all out. Next episode, I will be doing a Newcastle preview. Yeah, realistically, I'm not sure when these are going to be published. Hopefully this one will be late February, early March, and then I'll upload that Newcastle video probably a few days before the actual round. I do hope to go there actually this year. So that is the plan. Whether I'll go for one day or both, I have not properly decided. But yeah, catch you in the next episode. See ya.